So
Yeah.
I want to know your go-to scaling framework.
Yeah. So, on the scaling part, I have, uh, little contrarian view. The reason being that I feel when it comes to scaling, uh, a lot of times vendors think that, it is a factor of how much money do you throw in a relationship, so
Yes,
we will
this is
sign.
what I have. This is what I am being asked all the time. That what how much money you will give.
Yeah. And if you look at, just like you have from a customer perspective, there is 80-20 principle. Most of the time, your partner ecosystem also works like that. 80% of your partners will typically give 20% of your, sorry, 80% of your partners will essentially cover
20% partners will deliver
will,
80% of
will
it.
sorry cover 80% of your numbers anyways.
Yes.
And that's why I feel that, the scaling motion has to start with you are starting, again, if you look at what was our initial discussion, right, that, you are entering a new country, for example, or new segment. So what I always feel works well is that when you say scaling, start with not talking about 100 200 partners. Start with, can you scale with 5 to 10 strong relationships in a particular segment or in a particular industry? And scaling is not just about number of partners, right? What if the same set of 5 10 partners can help you scale big in a particular segment? So for me, scaling is more, if you ask me, vertical than horizontal,
Very clear.
because there you are going deep. You are also invested with the partner's success, and he's invested because he knows that you are investing deep with the partner. So and then you start going deep with the partner, and if you have one success, you create another success and another success. So horizontal scales comes later, vertical scaling comes much earlier, if you ask me.
Very so. Actually, first figuring out your lighthouse partners or partners with whom you will go deep with, and preferably in a vertical. Once you have established that, actually, and then really putting the dollars actually makes a lot of sense. And this reminds me that our APJ leader Chris Casey always talks about when you go to him with the ask for money, he's the one who has to approve it. And he always says that, uh, is this your lighthouse partner? Do you really see yourself doing a number of deals with this partner in these verticals, in these new tech areas? And only then he approves. If you go to him with this approach of investing money in a partner, with he wants all these boxes to be answered first, checked first, and only then you can get his signature. So now I'm able to understand his thought process a lot better uh, after speaking to you. That ultimately it's a 80-20 rule, so you have to be certain that partner falls in that 20%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
When money is not a concern, you can but it is not for just general distribution.
Yeah.
You really want to be sure.
Yeah, and in with those partners, you can obviously, you will need to invest, which is fine. But spraying and praying a couple of $1 million and thinking that something will fall through the sieve,
That's
that's not going to work.
perfect.
As in,
And
if you're lucky and your stars are okay, it may happen, but generally it doesn't.
doesn't. And how wise it is to fund a partner to have a sales team, because sometimes partners are not very certain, or they don't have the initial muscle of putting a sales team or expanding the sales team.
So it happens all the time. I think everyone does that at some point of time. My experience at least has been that if the funding is such that it is to, or let me put it this way, I don't want to load it with too many ifs and buts. If there is a agreement on both the sides that this funding is going to help both the teams accelerate, and that funding is not to satiate the partner's management or your management's need to show progress, I think it will work. In my experience, the problem with that is it happens because there is a pressure which is built saying that, partner is not working with us. Partners are asking what is our investment. And
Investment.
generally, the first thing is, okay, partner is asking for funding for resources. Okay, because there is a pressure, let's go and fund resources without even understanding what will those resources bring to the table. Imagine you are VC funded, and you come to a country and you say, hey, I am going to fund these partners. You don't even know what is that funding going to do. So are you clear in terms of what that funding means for the partner, means for you? And if you don't know and you're going to fund that, that's not going to work at all. So funding of resources, at least in my experience, has not been a great way to increase sale, by and large, because it happens because there is pressure to show what are you investing in me, and because I have to show investment, so the fastest way is, okay, fund resources. So it doesn't work. And in a place like India, probably it can work because resources come cheap. When I say cheap, as in from a monetary perspective, but if you have to do it in a new market, go to US, a single resource can cost you $250,000. So it just cannot work linearly that way.
A joint proposition, building something jointly, a wrapper of services around your product, or building a joint product together, uh, actually, with good reference architecture and initial 1-2 wins, that I have seen work far better than funded resources. If
Absolutely.
there is something to take to the market that the team can take, that I have seen work a lot better. So I'm allergic to funded headcount. So that is why I was asking. And second, if you adopt that sales team, see if that headcount actually starts sitting in your office and starts working as an extended team, and you coach them, that also I have seen work.
Yeah, because
Microsoft used to do that a lot. There was an extended team that HP does it very well.
yes,
Those sellers actually come to HP office. They have a badge, which is like a loaner badge, but and they have HP ID also actually.
yes,
It's like an extended team that comes every day. So they start behaving like your own sales.
yes. And actually, some of these came from some of the initial hardware companies. Uh, and, obviously HP used to do that a lot, and some of the other ones. But again, those are almost like your team. You are funding them, but, practically you run their cadence, you run. So from that perspective, they are as good as your team.
Yes.
So that initiative can work, but throwing money and saying, "Hey, this is take the money and then hire on my behalf," that just doesn't work.
That is very strongly my thought as well, Anuj. So that is why I wanted to speak to you, because I get that pressure all the time. So usually I am on loggerheads with most of my partner managers, saying we can't invest if I don't see a proposition to take to market. Getting more people will not help.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
this is very good, Anuj. Thank you for clarifying. And what is one essential ingredient for scale? A mental model is very clear to me. 80-20 rule. The 20% uh, partner pool is where you invest in. But is there any essential ingredient to scale beyond events? Usually when we want to scale with a partner, we find the ideal customer profile, we find a joint proposition, we do events together, thought leadership, put some case studies. This is what I have been doing. Is there anything beyond this that we should be doing?
So, some of the areas you spoke about, like, whether it's thought leadership, I feel that, we haven't, uh, most of the people, at least I have seen, do not give too much attention to that piece. and ultimately the money gets poured into the run of the mill stuff, whether it is events or hey, we'll do a CIO dinner. But there are very, very few players who actually invest time, because you require more time than money in some of this.
In some of this,
So
yes.
if you ask me from a scaling perspective, and scaling cannot happen overnight, as in unless until you are like ChatGPT, or you are like some of these new age players, where you are in the intersection of business and consumer, you can scale like overnight. This has to be over a period of time, and I feel that from a scaling perspective, building your brand over a period of time is the only way you will scale. So I don't think if I have any other recommendation there, but can your brand be hyphenated with a concept or a theme or a vertical or a particular solution, is where scaling will happen. Because then when people think about that, uh, we say, right, I'm going to take a Xerox, we say, right, you
Hmm.
are going to take a copy.
Photocopy nahi hai, it is a
Yeah.
Xerox.
So that doesn't happen overnight, right? That takes time. So it's the same concept. So if you have to build scale, that scale has to come through constant reiteration of your brand and what you're doing. So honestly, I don't think there is any other uh, mid to long term way to build scale.
Very, very clear to me, Anuj. Now I have two very tactical questions. Uh, we spoke about scale, and for scale, in some markets you will need a GSI partner. In some markets you will need boutique partners. In some markets it is more ISV driven, and India being hub of ISVs, most of the ISVs build their products here. So how different is managing each type? Like, or what do you do when you're managing a SI partner? What do you do when you're managing a GSI partner or ISV partner? Or is it all the same? The route is the same.
No, so actually completely different. SI partners to GSI partner itself, it will be completely different, because as you rightly said, 16 to 20 GSIs, you have to go deep. You have to have. I remember when we spoke last, you said, right, that from a GSI perspective, uh, first of all, who are you? As in, I'm saying from a constructive perspective, they are doing their business, and you are, unless until you are at a stage where there is a demand they see, they are not going to even quote you. So whereas SIs, at least there is a level to which you can start doing engagement. So there itself there is a differentiation in terms of how deep you need to go with the GSI. And then GSI is like one SI into 1,000. So the scale is completely different. You may have like 10 solution architects for a particular GSI, with which you can probably cover 50 SIs. So scale is very different. And the way they behave is very different. Stakeholders are very different. Sponsors are very different. Typically, a lot of SIs are promoter driven in most of the geographies. So you can actually you have a sponsor. Either you have a sponsor or you don't have a sponsor very fast.
Fast.
Whereas in GSIs, you can probably be working with a sponsor for 2 years, and then you realize that things are not still
Yeah,
working.
it's a wrong person.
Yeah. So very, very different there. ISVs are completely different because they are building a product. And if they are building a product, there what pulls and pushes there are very different from the system integrator or the solution providers, because they themselves are building a product. So their incentives are very different. And I keep saying, right, if you show me the incentive, you'll know the behavior. So if their incentive itself is to build a product, then the incentive, the behavior will be very different. So if you are working with an ISV, you have to understand what their incentive is. Their incentive is to sell their product, not your product. So if you go to them and say, hey, sell my product, uh, they have no incentive to sell your product unless until their product goes together, for example. So for each of these categories, we have to clearly identify what their incentive is to work with you. And if you know what their incentive is, you know what behavior you need to inculcate.
I have a follow-up question to that, Anish. In GSIs, mostly I hire people who have either done GSIs in past or have done large accounts. These two personas are fairly successful in managing GSIs. People who manage large accounts are sellers of large accounts. I take a bet on them. Usually they make good GSI PDM because they understand the political landscape of a large account. Or people who are traditionally into GSI business are also trained. What type of personas should be hired for a ISV business and a SI business?
So ISVs are, because they are technology companies, you have to hire somebody who understands technology and not technology, saying, for example, hey, I have done data analytics. That's not, that's not. So if you have not, I'm not saying that you have to be able to code,
Uh,
but you should be able to articulate technology much in a much fine-grained way compared to when you are working with a large ESI or SI, because there your relationships can carry you forward.
oh,
In an ISV, if you don't even understand what an
that's right.
ISV product is, when they say that, we are working with data lakes, and you have never, you don't even understand what a data lake is, chances are that, you and days are gone where you could say, I will bring my solution architect. I think those days are already gone, because earlier you could say, I will bring my solution architect. With the amount of knowledge we have today, partners also will not give you that much leeway. So you really need to hire, I would even say that, hire a technology person who is a more commercial minded person for ISVs than hiring a commercial person who understands a little bit of technology.
Basically, hire a techie who can also have commercial
Okay.
conversations.
That's right.
Okay.
Will
And
be a
how?
much, yeah,
No, no, go ahead, go ahead. Sorry.
will be a much, the chances of success will be much higher, because the ISVs then, when they talk about their product, about their problems, about their solutions, they will have a much better reception, and hence the conversation can be much better than just saying, hey, I will bring my solution architect, or we are, we are so and so. So I would say the a better profile is a person who's a technology person who can also talk commercials.
Anuj, now I'm going a little nuanced and I'm taking this liberty to go nuanced with you because I know that you've dealt with it and you're currently also dealing with it. There is one set of ISVs who are building on us, right? Or building on any platform.
Sure,
There is a second set, which are global ISVs whose solutions are built and now they're looking for GTM.
sure,
And you have a ISV team managing them also.
sure,
And their platform is already built. They have cut $1 billion check for your organization already.
sure,
And all they now need is a co-sell motion with you.
sure.
What type of people are successful in those roles? Whom should we be hiring for those roles?
So most of the times, at least from what I have seen, or what I think should work in those roles, are people who have done, uh, for example, if you have a person who has managed AWS relationship
Okay.
in a SI organization itself, could be a great person to and when I say who has managed, as in not like just a relationship, but who has done something successfully in terms of building the GTM with AWS, for example, will be a good person who will understand what could be the GTM motion with a global player with AWS, because he understands how AWS GTM works and what the levers are. Uh, Unlike just hiring somebody who has managed Databricks, for example, because that person maybe has managed Databricks, and I'm not saying rule them out, but somebody who has built and executed hyperscaler sales motions in in a smaller organization, because in a smaller organization, building a successful GTM motion with AWS is very, very hard. AWS doesn't, as in when I say AWS, as in a hyperscaler doesn't care about you as much.
Yes.
But when you are in SAP, AWS cares about you. So
Yes.
you are given things on a platter there.
Platter.
When you are in a smaller SI, you have built a successful GTM motion, and you remember that person. that's a great person to hire, because that person has gone through a lot of pain to build that GTM compared to a bigger company. So you hire somebody from Snowflake, for example. A Snowflake has given you $1 billion for GTM, what big deal. Look at somebody who is from a smaller company, very scrappy. He was given maybe $10,000 to build a GTM, but he was successful. That's a great hire, because he will think on his feet compared to thinking from his card. I keep saying that.
I completely relate to this, Anuj, because in CMS IT,
You came from that background.
I came from that background, right? So for me, you give me any GTM, I will run 10 experiments, 2 fail, 3 fail, 4 fail, 5 fail. I have no problem. I know if you run 10, it will fail, 2 will succeed. The 2 you succeed, you start scaling. And while you're scaling, there'll be n number of problems and nobody will come to your rescue. You need to get the folks to your rescue. And once you scale, if you have a playbook, then you can run very fast. And then usually I hire all the good boys and girls and say, now this is a playbook. But till the playbook, I say people who have been there, done that, I need only them. Otherwise, and usually I hire people who have worked in sales and alliances both, and also have worked for some smaller player or have had a stint tech to sales movement, some kind of they have seen world from 2-3 sides. They fit better, but this gives me even better understanding. Somebody who's built GTM in a smaller organization actually is a great cut.
Yeah.
To think. And who are the people who are successful in SI relationships? Because there are just so many, like there are so many transactions in a day.
Yeah. So again, SIs depends on what size of SIs, but say any mid-size SI, I think what I have seen is these are like banking, your banking relationship managers, right? They carry their relationships forward. So if you have worked, if you know people who know, or I shouldn't say who know, who can give you 5 references saying that, hey, you can pick up a call and ask about me from a SI CEO. I think that's the best way to, it's like, is his number with the SI of SI CEO? Because
Even
they
people
are,
take this approach in GSI, and I feel that's a very bad approach, because if you know Romal from Deloitte, actually nothing is going to move.
yeah, but that is exactly right. But the problem is because Deloitte is Deloitte. Deloitte is $10 billion. But an SI is maybe $10 million. And everything flows from the top there.
Force flows from them. Okay, beautiful. This I
Because
never thought.
if everything flows from the top, at least you need a push from the top for you to be able to establish. Otherwise, if you go from top down, bottoms up there, uh, as in you have no stakeholder.
Yes.
Whereas in a Deloitte or a Wipro, it just doesn't matter. As in, maybe there are 200 AVPs there. As in, who cares about? Sorry, don't take it in a negative way. I'm just saying.
I really come from that background, so I know that even if there is such frequent restructuring that if you know a person tomorrow, that person is not
That's it.
there.
Yeah.
And the leader of the organization can only instruct, but then it is the middle management in a GSI where you really need to work.
Yeah.
You have to map sales, you have to map delivery, you have to map operations. The solution has to get built on you, and then only the GTM starts. So there, somebody who understands the drill is much better than knowing 1 or 2 people, because that ecosystem is fairly volatile. But I like, because the SI founder is not going to change.
Yes. He's not going to change. And, there people will come and go, but he will remember. 30 years, he will be there. So if you have established your credibility and your brand with him, chances are wherever you go, he will go with you. He or she.
He or she will. Beautiful. This is a gold standard. Thank you so much for sharing this. I have a very last and very, very tactical question, which I get asked a lot. Every partner wants a lead. If you're a hyperscaler, they want leads from you. But more and more partner attach is going towards 70%. And more than attach, you're creating the partners. It is not that your sales team is going and closing deals and then you're assigning partners. Mostly, either partner is going and doing the business, or your sales team in very early cycle has started working with the partner. In such a scenario, how do you give leads? There are no leads to give. So whenever they want the ecosystem to be active, they say you give leads. It's a give and get. But how do you solve this? Because what I see is that there are barely any leads to give.
And the reason for that, Neha, is that if you give leads to the partner, what will your sales team do?
Yes.
So, in my experience, again, I'll be brutally honest there. Most of the time, junk goes to the partners.
Yes.
And because junk goes to the partner, there is dissatisfaction. Partners push back saying that, hey, you told me you will give leads and so on and so forth. And you are not generating leads fast enough for all the partners, right? So even your 20% partners are not satisfied because first all the cream goes to your sales team. By the time it filters, the junk goes to 20% partners. Maybe in that junk also there is some cream, so it goes to 20% partners, which itself is junk. So uh, in I feel that the expectation itself should be not set that the GTM is centered around sharing of leads. Because if you start with that expectation, it's a wrong way to start a conversation that we are going to do GTM. We should create leads together. That's a great way to set expectation. And because of that, we will have our sales team, your sales team going into a lead, going to a joint opportunity. But saying that we have lots of leads and we are going to pass on leads is a wrong expectation because that never happens. At least in my experience, most of the times partners are getting junk. And that's why, by the way, your APN leads and a lot of leads which are going to your systems are junk, because when you throw junk at the partner, he'll also update junk.
Done.
That's
Yes.
why CRMs are never proper.
Yes. Only time I've seen work with a few partners is when they are in need of capacity, and they close deals and they want partners to deliver when they're
Yes.
new in the market.
Yeah.
That is when I've seen that they're looking for implementation partners. And if there's a large deal, if they want to rope in a GSI, they will close the deal and get the partner.
Yes.
That is the only scenario I have seen it work. And that makes the partner lazy.
Yes.
Actually. So more than anything, teach them hunting. And in that process also, I'm saying even if you are closing, I really dislike giving. I say involve them while you are closing so that they are able to close 5.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. So last question, Anuj, if somebody is building an ecosystem, right? If a partner leader is building, or the ecosystem exists, covering the ecosystem, what would be the 3 principles that you would relate to that?
So I would just say the first one itself is think about the customer first. Don't think about the partners. Because if you think about the partners first, then you are missing the center of your universe, which is the customer. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, once you think about the customer, you have to think about what is in it for the partner. Because if you don't think what is in it for the partner, you will start with the wrong notion of how you want to build the ecosystem. And the third one is, you have to be very clear about what is your definition of the ecosystem. As I said, 7 or 8 earlier, there were, ecosystem meant only one or two things. Today, if for example, even at channel work, when we are working with customers, we have 7 or 8 different personas of partners. So you have to be very clear about what that persona you want to appeal to. And that cannot be that, I want to appeal everything to everyone, because then you're spreading yourself too thin. So customer, think about the customer, then go to what is in it for the partner, and then very clearly what that partner persona is. I would say these are the 3 principles.
Lovely. I absolutely love this. And what should be your cadence with the sales team? Like how frequently the partner leader should be meeting the sales team?
The partner sales team or partner sales team?
The actual sales team, the country's sales team.
You are saying how often do your PDM should meet the your sales team or the partner sales team?
My sales team, like if you're a hyperscaler and you're a hyperscaler partner leader, that partner leader, how often should be meeting the sales?
So again, I have a slightly, actually, if you are not meeting the sales team, probably 60-70% of your time, you will be redundant for the ecosystem because you have no pulse of the customer. And because your role does not entail you to go to the customer, your only gateway to the customer is your sales team. So if you're not sitting with the sales team and understanding what their customer pain points are, you, and when I say you, as in whoever is doing that role, and the partner organization will become redundant in my view. So in fact,
That
automation,
also boils down to the PDMs, like,
100%, 100%. I'm not talking about the leader. I'm talking about the partner organization.
organization.
Has to be, and that's why the problem with some of these partner relationship management tools and CRM tools is we have relegated the job of a partner manager to Excel sheet management and postman.
Yes.
Sales team says something, take it to the partner.
Partner
Partner says something, take it to the sales
to the
team.
sales team. Yes.
And because there is still no automation, people end up doing that job of Excel sheet management and this management. If you remove that automation, remove that work and give it to the automation layers tools, then the job of the partner manager is to build relationships inside and with the partner. That is the core job of the partner manager.
Partner.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I always say that you are saying postman, I always say kabutar, so I said
As in,
you don't have to fly from here and
don't
fly
get me
there.
wrong. It was not meant in any derogatory way. I've been a partner manager all my
No,
life.
I keep saying that, the day that automation layer, and today that automation layer actually exists.
Yeah.
People are not using it, but very soon they will start using. And I know this is true, right? Every layoff, you see few thousands going down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is the layer which is most impacted.
And by the way, that's the norm. That's going to be the norm moving forward.
Yes. Yes. So really deeply understanding the sales and what customer needs, and then building those relationships at the partner organization and understanding your sales, and then mapping. I think this is a great takeaway for every single partner manager, that 60-70% of your time actually should go with your sales. Now, a super tactical question, Anuj, and this is my personal problem. When you have partner sales managers and you have partner managers, then the sales team is very guarded. The partner sales people don't want you to interact with sales. How do you deal in such a situation where partner function also be further divided into?
Yeah, so honestly, I don't know why that layer should be there in the first place, because the job of a partner manager is to sell through the partners and sell with partners. So I don't know why it has to be there, but if it is there, I would say that uh, one can be internal facing, one can be external facing. So partner sales managers can be working with the partner sales, and partner managers can be doing that internal liaising, and some level of bridge has to be built where partner sales can be more working with the partner organizations, partners to build sales, and partner managers can be working internally, or vice versa. For example, that a swap of roles can happen, but if you ask me, that's a redundant role. As in, if you have to further have a partner manager and a partner sales manager, honestly, we are just building layers on things which are supposed to be basic job of a partner manager.
Partner.
Yeah.
But I really like the idea that you said that team actually can be working with partner sellers also in creating sales process.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really like that. If you have that layer, might as well utilize it for creating a few sales plays.
That's
Now, one of some fun questions. Which is more tough? Convincing your sales team or convincing your partner to work with you?
Oh, convincing your sales team. As in, especially in large organizations, people have a very healthy sense of their own grandeur, and they feel that they have uh, God's given right to make or break, quote unquote, destinies. And that's why it is it's very difficult to convince your teams compared to partners. Partners are, if you ask me, a lot more humble, lot more, because they are small. They need you honestly more than anything else. So it's much easier to convince them on, if you ask me, to compared to convincing your teams.
I try on this. And one metrics can kill partner programs. What is that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
If there is one metrics that could kill partner program, any partner program, what would you
Which
say
can
that
kill?
kill?
Yeah, so I think the only one thing from my perspective, you ask me, is wrong expectation. If you do not, if your expectations are mismatched, uh, and the expectations can be in multiple ways, it's a very broad term, but I would say expectation mismatch is the only metrics which
For
can kill a partner program,
program.
because
I
you are running north and partner is running
run
south.
it south. Yeah, I always say that alignment is first. Once you're aligned, you can execute uh, whatever. So
Yeah.
I kind of agree with you that that kind of alignment and alignment of expectations, right? Lot of times we align resources, we align funding, but the expectations are not aligned. So I totally agree with you. And what is one biggest myth that you have seen in partner scaling with partners that is very prevalent that you have seen?
Yeah, the myth, again, maybe a little contrarian, but actually you are not building business. You are not building partners. I always keep saying that business somewhere exists, partners exist. You are only, uh, shifting some of that from one bucket to the other. And I was saying right earlier that this feeling of grandeur that hey, I'm building a ecosystem, especially in large organizations. That's the biggest myth. You are not building anything. You are adding to a existing business, and you are probably pulling from one pocket and putting it in another pocket. You're not really building, unless until you are building a product or your new category or something. That's a big myth that say I built a $50 million partner revenue, a partner business. Like you picked it from somewhere and put it somewhere else. Yeah. Sorry if I'm
Trusted for me, understood
yeah,
it.
yeah.
The entire grandeur that I carry today is
No, no, but again, sorry, it was not meant for you.
no, but it really hit home with me that, and a lot of fear has also gone away from me. Today, if anybody asks me that, will you come join and build this business? I can really say, if it build nahi karna hai, I will come and do it.
Yeah.
Because actually, you're not building. It exists. Either you are shifting or you are doing something incremental. It is not that it's a startup universe and they're creating. That's
Yeah, yeah, for example, Vice has been there for 30 years. As in, what are
yes,
you going to build? As in, you are
build.
going to, yeah, maybe you'll take 1 million from here and then push it there, but
Yes,
that still exists.
that's it. So this is fantastic. Thank you so much.
I know,
I
absolutely no problem.